The emails and messages started flooding in from Donald Trump at about 6 a.m. this morning on the news that it seems the United States of America could be heading into a recession based on new data released by the Atlanta Fed. Also, consumer spending is down drastically as well. Let's go through everything that's happening. Here's the message that Trump sent via email to his supporters at 6:25 a.m. It says, message from Elon Musk. Then it says, do you see what Elon Musk sent out to all federal employees? I told him to ramp things up! Exclamation point. Then it goes on to talk about the message from Elon Musk that was news last week, that many of the cabinet secretaries told their employees they didn't need to respond to. About 1 million federal employees did not respond to this, where Elon Musk asked them to respond with the 5 things they did in the previous week. And then Donald Trump goes on to say, should Elon Musk and I fire anybody that did not respond? Yes or no, take the Doge poll. And when you click on it, it goes to an area where Donald Trump is asking his supporters for money. So at 6 a.m. this morning, on this horrible economic news, Donald Trump is sending emails grifting off of firing federal employees like it's some sick, demented Squid Games or something. Then at 8:56 a.m. this morning, Donald Trump then writes, do you want to come over for dinner? Ben, have you ever wanted to visit Mar-a-Lago? I will cover the entire cost. That's how much I want to see you at the Winter White House. Just chip in any amount before midnight and enter to win an unforgettable night. What Donald Trump wants to have as forgettable is the news this morning. It appears a recession is incoming. The Atlanta Fed's GDP now just slashed its Q1 forecast to negative 1.5% economic contraction under Donald Trump. When former President Biden left office in January, growth was projected at 3% or more. But thanks to Trump's tariffs and economic chaos, consumer confidence is now tanking and the economy is crumbling. You can see right here from the Atlanta Fed, you can just see the line going straight down under Donald Trump. Horrific, horrific stuff. What is Donald Trump doing to distract from all of this as well? Well, this morning he announced that he will be signing an executive order officially designating English as the official language of the United States, reversing a nearly 250-year tradition of America being a melting pot. But this is just kind of the red meat that Donald Trump is throwing his base to try to distract and deflect from the fact that prices are going up, the tariffs are harming the economy, our GDP not only is going to a grinding halt, but it's on reverse right now, and things are getting bad very quickly here in the United States. Julie Davis, who tracks all things going on in Russia, she runs Russia Monitor for the Daily Beast. She writes, meanwhile, in Russia, state TV pundits thank Trump for his revolutionary policies that greatly benefit Moscow. They claim that the American president is ready to give Russia as much of Ukraine as Putin wants. You see right there from one of the main Russian propaganda shows, quote, he's ready to give Russia everything it wants to take. As Carl Quintanilla from CNBC says with respect to this article, what phase of grief are we in right now? This is Ted Cruz, MAGA Republican senator from Texas, and Ted Cruz says that he is hopeful that Trump's Canada-Mexico tariffs scheduled for March 4th won't take effect. The Senate Commerce Chair expressed concern about the tariffs' impact on his home state economy. Meanwhile, in his home state of Texas, there is a massive measles outbreak as well, because lots of people were listening to Trumpers and RFK Jr. and others and not getting their measles vaccine and not getting other vaccines. Now, as kids are actually dying, now people are getting vaccines. Vaccination push is on. This is right below the masthead from the Wall Street Journal. So the economy is looking bad. Donald Trump is blaming everything on former President Biden. Donald Trump posted late last night, as usual, Sleepy Joe Biden left us a total mess. The budget from last year is still not done. We are working very hard with the House and Senate to pass a clean temporary government funding bill, CR. Let's get it done. You know when the last budget was actually done? In 2022, under Nancy Pelosi, when she was Speaker of the House, when Democrats actually did the function of passing a budget. Republicans have been unable to pass a budget. So even though Republicans are in control of the House of Representatives, which controls the spending power, they've been operating on what are called CRs, continuing resolutions, that just basically kick the bucket down the line. That's even the expression, by using basically Pelosi's budget and just saying, we're continuing it, we're continuing it, we're continuing it. Now, since Republicans control the House, they're in charge of the oversight. So when Republicans are out there saying, oh, there's all this fraud out there and there's all of these issues, well, you've been the one, it's been your budget in 2023, in 2024, in 2025. If you do a CR, you're taking Pelosi's 2022 budget and you're just extending it. Do you see how that works? That's why what these MAGA Republicans are trying to say is that they're giving their power to Elon Musk to go in and put his algorithms into all of your data and then fire all of these people, which is actually not making a dent on the budget, which is why they then come up with all of these scams of, the Trump gold cards where he sells visas for $5 million to Russian oligarchs and Chinese oligarchs. 10 million people are going to do it. So we'll make $50 trillion on Trump gold cards, or, other kind of scams and gimmick, or Doge is going to find trillions of dollars. No, what they're doing is they're going to cut your Medicaid, which they're already doing. They're cutting essential services so they can give billionaires tax cuts. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, translation, we still can't get our heads out of our asses long enough to get things done and govern. So we have to continue Nancy Pelosi's 2022 budget again for a few more months and let Musk cause chaos so they will blame him and not notice our incompetence. Should be noted as well that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, who were in Romania, and they were on special conditions there because they were arrested for sex trafficking, and sex trafficking involving minors were the allegations against them. Those conditions were released against them after it was reported that top Trump officials were in Munich and pressured the Romanian officials to release Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. They then went back to the United States. And here's a new article from NBC News saying that these individuals who were alleged to commit heinous acts of sex trafficking, and I've showed you what they've actually said in their own words, they feel secure in America now because of Donald Trump, they say. Horrific stuff. We're learning about more of these firings as well. After nearly 2 weeks of overwhelming uncertainty, this is Zach Labe, who works at NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And he talks about, I was fired from my dream job working at NOAA. I'm so sorry for everyone else who's been affected. My job was to strengthen NOAA's use of machine learning and AI for subseasonal to decadal weather and climate prediction. As Dr. Jonathan Wall explains, those within NOAA getting fired today aren't just poor performers. Some of them are the best at what they do. We're losing PhDs, authors, and teachers. Everyone should be outraged. This is shameful. Meteorologist Al Roker wrote, going into severe weather and hurricane season, this cannot be good. The Commerce Department has laid off hundreds of NOAA employees, many with specialized skills who work at one of the world's top climate science and weather forecasting agencies. The NOAA is responsible for providing weather watchers and warning, monitoring and studying Earth's climate, as well as operating weather satellites and protecting marine life. The layoffs of probationary employees that began Thursday hit soon after cuts at the behest of Musk's Doge and other climate and environment agencies. And it goes on to talk about how, this could cause major, major impacts on everybody's lives. One of the things that's become a major scandal as well for the Trump administration is their continued cover-up of the Epstein files. They were supposed to release all of the files. We're talking about, this is a lot of information. It'll be terabytes of information. And we know Trump was very close friends with Epstein. They were supposed to release the files yesterday, they said. Instead, they invited a handful of like 10 influencers to the White House, real right-wing propagandists. I shouldn't even call them influencers, right-wing kind of trashy propagandists. And they were all given a small binder. And the small binder said the Epstein files. Then it said the most transparent history, most transparent presidency in history. And then all these like propagandists then walked out with the binders. Like, we earned this. We did it. And they were like dancing and holding the binder, which was just the kind of list of phone numbers in Jeffrey Epstein's phone book. By the way, Trump's name is one of the people that was in the phone book. But it was just ghoulish and gross. It wasn't the Epstein files. It was something that was released back in 2021. We already had access to that. They weren't releasing the files. And you ask, why are they covering it up? Because we know the relationship between Trump and Epstein. I've done 100 videos on it. In the last month, I probably did 100 videos on it. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, goes, what senior official in the Trump administration decided that the right thing to do by the Epstein victims was to pass out binders to right-wing social media influencers so they can use them as clickbait props to make money on social media? They are literally making money off of these victims. What's Trump doing? More emails. Trump was right about everything. I made a new MAGA hat, Ben. As soon as I saw them, I told my staff to grab me a couple so I could show them off to everyone. Here it is. And you have to buy the Trump hat. I'll leave you with this. This is from the Telegraph. Economists are starting to worry about the serious recession. Tariffs on America's neighborhoods and assault on federal government will hit the U.S. economy. Quote, it seems almost avoidable that we are headed for a deep, deep recession, said Jesse Rothstein, Berkeley professor and former chief economist at the U.S. Labor Department. We're seeing this as well. Investors bet on U.S. downturn as Trump triggers red flags. Funds are flowing from capital markets into less risky government bonds in anticipation of a slowdown. And Professor Rothstein says, I think we're going to see historically large job losses of 400,000 jobs a month are not implausible. This is from Bloomberg. Trump risks American consumer backlash over tariffs. Polls show, and only 30% of Americans or so believe we're headed in the right direction right now. And even though Donald Trump is horrible right now for the crypto markets, I think causing literally $1 trillion in losses, the worst imaginable for crypto. The good news, though, for this businessman who pumped $75 million into the Trump family-backed crypto token now finds himself in a fortunate position this week as the federal securities regulators are hitting pause on their civil fraud case against him. Remember that guy we talked to you about who bought the banana for $6 million, Justin's son, who invested in Trump's crypto thing? Well, now the SEC says we're not going to be prosecuting this individual anymore. We're not doing anything like that. So we're pausing it. He's good. He's good to go. Nothing to do with the Trump thing. Nothing to see there. Let me finally, Heather Long, economist, she talks about the big drop in consumer spending in January. Personal consumption expenditures decreased by 0.2%. In areas like car parts, recreational stuff, appliances, furniture, clothing. That's usually the first thing you see when you're heading in a recession, and then it starts going down to necessities after. Thanks for watching. We'll keep you posted. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.